Ambler Farm has a great deal of potential. It's a beautiful and unique place, and we see it as a community farm. It's a place where people in the community can come together to reconnect with their agrarian roots. They can work in the land, they can come together as a community. It's a simpler life, a way to sort of celebrate our heritage. And we feel it's a really important place to preserve and to keep intact for the entire community.
Structures that were in absolute jeopardy have been restored and repaired. The town has paid for those things, so the farm is beginning to look together. The front house then is the last piece to really be finished up.
Once one of the prettiest homes in town and meticulously cared for by the Raymonds and Amblers for hundreds of years. The site of many a social event.
Right now the White House is holding up, but it really is in tremendous need of restoration, and to keep it from deteriorating any further, there's a substantial amount of work that needs to be done.
As most houses in New England, they've kind of evolved over time, starting with the original portion, which dates back to 1799. As time went on, in the 1860s, this portion here, we believe, was constructed, and then followed by the West Wing, which was around 1899, so it's about 100 years of development here.
It's water damage that Rich Vail points out first. The oldest part of the house has a wraparound porch that's buried below the grade. The dark, damp conditions under the porch make it inviting for termites to work their way into the framing.
One way of solving this condition is, and still maintaining the integrity of the house, is to inject an epoxy into the post and beam, which gives it the strength to still hold up, but maintains the original structure.
Saving the structure can help save much of the home's rare detail of the period.
You can see here with the tile. The goal for the original part of the house is to maintain the character that it has now. Replacement should be in keeping with the various changes that it's gone through from when it was built in 1799 until basically all the way up to the 1950s and early 60s, as you'll see in other parts of the house. So we're on the second floor in the hall of the original portion of the house. This wood paneling, it's pretty clear, was brought in probably the early part of the 20th century.
So much of the detail that set the house apart from any other in town, detail in danger of being lost. Water flowing into the newest section, the West Wing, has caused that part of the house to settle, buckling the floorboards. Temporary supports in the basement help shore up some of the beams.
All this needs to be addressed in a more permanent way.
In this corner of the basement, there's a reminder of when the family had to keep a coal furnace stoked to heat the house. While there's a more modern oil burning system in place now, it will need attention. Other major systems will need replacement altogether.
The electrical system really needs to be brought up to date in entirety. I think it's probably old BX cable, which is, as you know, a galvanized steel wound protection for the electrical work. But the problem with that is, because of the moisture in the building, it's all deteriorated, and It needs to have a modern wiring system throughout the building, the service as well as the wiring itself. Well, the plumbing clearly is virtually non-existent, and the septic system, I'm quite sure that will have to be replaced as well. So it's really the entire infrastructure for the building.
The cost to restore and rehabilitate the Raymond-Ambler house has been estimated at close to $2 million.
The Raymond-Ambler house has to be restored and repaired to bring it back to working order so that the public can use it. And the project's going to be done in 2 phases. The first phase will restore the structure to the house and repair the back section, the rear section, which is in great disarray. And the second phase will restore the front circa 1799 section and the middle 1850 section.
The town of Wilton has bonded $450,000 to start the restoration project. Friends of Ambler Farm will ask for another $500,000 for Phase 2. From the state of Connecticut, there's a $250,000 steep grant and potentially another $150,000 in additional grants for building projects. The balance will come from fundraising, about $600,000.
The real challenge is how are we going to get a faithful restoration with minimal budget. There's not an overly generous budget for this project, and I think that we have to be very careful about the choices made of those things which are restored faithfully.
While there's a great deal of work to be done to restore the Raymond-Ambler house, once the money is raised and the work is done, it will help Wilton better embrace its farming heritage and secure a place in the town's future.
The Raymond-Ambler house is worth saving because it represents the final step in preserving the entire Ambler Farm facility. And Ambler Farm is important because it's the town of Wilton's community farm. It represents a place where anyone in the community can feel comfortable coming to, participating in a program, an event, just taking a walk, buying some vegetables. The heart of Ambler Farm is community.
It also represents how much more open the land was, how much more space there was around buildings. What a privilege to have it still in the town and have this kind of restoration taking place, because it's a great reminder as to what the town used to be, and when it's brought up to date, it'll be very current as well.
There are a number of places that people can donate their money and time, both locally and nationally. But Ambler Farm is someplace that's unique to Wilton and to Fairfield County.